is spending money on marketing, but you can't tell what's working.
No leads, no calls, no clue where the budget went. And I think the perception from an operator might be, well, I don't do marketing, I don't do branding. And they almost feel like they're opting out of it. In the real world, the perception is not that you don't do it, it's that you do it poorly.
Today, we're breaking down how ISPs can market smarter, where to spend, what to skip, and how to make sure every dollar actually brings customers in.
Because if you can measure it, you can fix it and stop wasting money in the process.
You may think you're serious about growth, but we can't find where you're operating. We can't find your terms and conditions. We can't find how to contact you. You don't have a meaningful way to communicate with your customers, and you're not telling a story. It's not doing the do.
But what do you do when your marketing actually works?
And suddenly, your ops team can't keep up with the installs.
Well, great. Let's talk today about marketing and sales strategies for ISPs. What do most ISPs completely misunderstand about branding? And Rick, we'll start with you.
Fine.
I think that it's not optional. We talk about how some people are blessed with the fact that they have a lot of, build it and they will come type of energy to their business, or they just have this kind of stable business. They're the hometown play. I don't think that matters. In the age of AI, I don't think there's a lot of excuses about not at least, making an effort. It's all of these things are more accessible than ever. I'm not saying that's as good as a proper brand strategy or having, a team on it, but not everyone can afford that, nor can they justify it. But it's easier now than ever to do these things. And also, even if you are the only game in town, are you? I hate to keep bringing up, I won't use the brand this time. I'll say low Earth orbit satellites. But there is one brand in particular that is a household name and, has a reasonable reputation for their service. It's spendy, but they're just a phone call away, right? So I think you have to invest in it. It's not optional any longer.
It can't be an afterthought. It really can't. And it's colors. It's where you're going to place your brand. It's the name that you choose. What's going to differentiate you? What is the imagery that you want to portray for your company? Pay attention to, is it earth tones? Is it what's going to draw people in? Is it tied to your community? Is it rural? Are you in an urban setting? Is it buildings? Think about all of those little graphic pieces and then how you can play it out. How you can play it out on the back of those uniforms or on the poster at the Little League tournament. What sussies are you going to give out? Swag are you going to give out at the county fair? Or what are the trucks going to look like? And if you don't think that your brand gets tied back to you, you are absolutely wrong. When you've got contract workers going through and laying fiber and they're ripping up places they shouldn't be ripping up, you want your brand associated with it or not associated with it based on what they're doing good or not good, right? But the same thing with your technicians and the same thing with your customer service reps that are wearing their gear and picking a fight at the local Five and Dime. Okay, it's not a Five and Dime anymore, but you know what I mean. At the local convenience store. How's that?
Did you just say sussies and Five and Dime and the same answer?
Leave me alone.
Can we have some translations along the bottom?
You know what a sussy is. Swag.
Swag.
There you go.
Swag. We were just on vacation and we were at the Dollar Mart and their advertisement was everything $1.99 and up. I'm like, the Dollar Mart. No, apparently not.
Branding matters.
Right. You're not kidding.
So branding, right? I think, that for me, it was like people just say, when you're starting, it's my logo. That's my branding. But that is not your branding, not by any stretch of the imagination. It's the whole reputation thing and everything that you build around it. And, I think the most misunderstood thing is you need to be consistent in your branding. And you brought that out. You mentioned, your website, your clothes, your brochures, if you're doing it, your trucks, they all need to reflect exactly that same thing.
It's how are you telling your story? And it's got to be consistent. It's got to be consistent across all the different pieces and parts of your business.
And I think the perception from an operator might be, well, I don't do marketing, I don't do branding. And they almost feel like they're opting out of it. In the real world, the perception is not that you don't do it, it's that you do it poorly.
And if you've got an established brand, you need to think really hard before you go making tweaks and changes to it. People don't like change. And make sure it's going to be meaningful to your overall company image if you're going to step into that arena.
Yeah, we've seen that play out time and time again. I mean,
time and time again.
Outside of the telecom industry, big logo reveals,
right?
There was
that were just absolute flops.
Yep,
I can think of a couple of that.
Back. Yeah, Cracker Barrel.
Which is why I think it matters so much for you to pay attention to it at the beginning, so you don't have to make a pivot 2 years in, and then they're like, "Oh, is that the same company? Is that?" Oh, the logo on my invoice changed. And I see it time and time again with the mergers and acquisitions. It's like, here's the company brand that the people are familiar with, powered by blah, blah, blah. Or you're making that transition. You're introducing the new company. You're making sure that your customers understand the unification there.
Did you pivot your brand over the years?
We did not. Well, really early on, we changed our logo, and then after that, we stayed with that whole color palette and stuff. So most people would not even, you can go to the Wayback Machine. If you get to 1990, you might be
the Wayback Machine.
That is, I love that.
It's a great resource.
That is
shout out Wayback
so
Machine.
Fun, right?
We dropped wireless from our name when we started getting into fiber and other offerings, and it went fairly well. We kept our color. We did change our logo, and we did work with a marketing agency, and it felt very big at the time. Like, I think we questioned the decision as it was going, but like, there is a lot that goes into it, to your point, and you don't want to lose that brand equity.
And having consistent colors matters. Knowing what your hex codes are matters for your branding.
Everything. If we change the logo and change the colors and dropped wireless, like you said, what's this bill from this random company who, like, that's not a moment
decline.
Have to right, exactly. So the brand equity is a thing, and you have to be cognizant of that and navigating.
And there are, again, hard dollar costs to what you're putting into your branding. So you want to make sure if you have to pivot, you pivot slowly.
So does branding impact valuation?
I think it can. I really do think it can. A well-named, recognized company. I had an experience with a customer I mentioned in a previous episode that they were operating in an urban area, and my own friends didn't know that there was a local ISP in the area because they weren't doing things to be visible in the community. They were going and doing installs, but they weren't doing anything about their trucks. They didn't have any signage on the trucks. They didn't do yard signs at all. They weren't doing door hangers, any of those things to bring brand awareness to the fact that they were serving that area.
Yeah, the trucks, that's a freebie almost. I mean, yeah, okay, it's going to cost you a few grand when you get the truck wrapped.
Rolling
stuff, but you could start with the magnetic ones if that's what you need to do.
Because worthwhile.
Today it's my personal truck, tomorrow's my work truck.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I agree. Full wraps are so easy to justify. If you've ever actually priced out billboards, you'll see what a bargain a truck wrap is.
We did billboards for a while. The wrap truck is way worthwhile. So who should own the sales enablement in a small growing ISP?
It depends on how small you mean by small. Because if this is a mom and pop shop, everybody's going to have some ownership in the sales enablement because they're all helping to build the brand, right? But as you grow and scale, I think you have to peel off a portion of someone's time and be like, this is your job, is to make sure we've got consistency in our motions, in our cycles. It's not enough to throw up a Facebook page and never post anything on it. That does you no good. It's dead air. You're not gaining followers. How do you engage? How do you build followers? Are you getting Google reviews from your customers? Probably not, unless you're asking for them. Even the Google reviews are part of your branding, and you have to be consistent in asking for them.
I think this is a tricky question to answer. In my personal experience, I haven't seen a lot of consistency from operator to operator on where the buck stops with this. I do think that it very often is an important facet, like many things we talk about, where you kind of catch up to the fact that it needs to be established in an official way. And I think that there are components of these responsibilities that are done by individuals, but it goes far too long without having an actual job title associated with it, and really having the buck stop with that person.
Well, and I think AI, we mentioned it earlier. I do think AI is going to play into some of the marketing and sales enablement pieces that smaller operators can put into place. It can come up with a monthly schedule for what your posts are going to be. It can give you ideas about how to leverage, your different components and build your visibility in your community that you can put into action, things that will actually work. And you may not think you have time for sales enablement. You may not think you have time for marketing. I don't think you've got time to not market when you're launching your company.
So in the ISP that you're at, what is one mistake you guys made as you grew that you can have our customers or our viewers avoid going forward?
In terms of sales and marketing?
Yeah, sales enablement. What was there a mistake that was made?
I think we really learned the hard way how to implement social media. We kind of woke up one day and decided we really should have a social media presence. And this was before we never had a marketing person in-house. We had a marketing agency that we would work with and we had a contract with. And like I said, we went with that branding agency when we did the rebrand. But we did eventually hire a dedicated social media person. By the way, looking at kind of the evolution of we were purchased by a national provider. She is in a significant social media / marketing position with that provider. So that must have been a good hire. I have to say, not to, I'm always patting myself on the back, but anyways, I digress. But that was probably one of the best things we did, was talk ourselves into actually having a dedicated position. At the time, it felt really big. But probably what colored that decision was the fact that, God, did we take our licks with starting up? So at the time, it would have been Twitter. We did Twitter and we did Facebook. And one of the first mistakes that we made with Twitter, and we thought it was a really great idea. And again, this is very much sort of this like pragmatic, nerds perspective on like the differences between the platforms. Like we understood Facebook was like, just having, putting yourself out there and telling people fun things and staying connected with the community. But we saw Twitter as like, oh, we're going to get the information out to people. It's pithy and it's quick. So what did we do? We would tweet every time we had a network problem. And what we had was this running tally of every time we had a mistake. And you can imagine the optics of that were damning. I mean, people were looking at that, I'm sure, not calling us and calling our competitors. Our competitors probably looking at that and absolutely laughing their butts off. So clearly we didn't stick with that for long, and we pivoted out of that. So I guess in general, I would say like maybe one way you could look at that is don't just open a public social media account if you really don't see that platform being a good fit for you and you're not willing to follow through on it. That's worse than not having the presence at all. But also just not understanding the platforms. And I think you see that all the time in like reusing content just blindly across platforms. Like, yes, Instagram has short form video with Reels, and TikTok is short form video. The culture, if you will, on TikTok is very different than on Instagram, and you don't see the same engagement when you're just literally copy pasting content. And I think a lot of people don't necessarily understand that, but they're still spending time on it, even if it is.
And there's some solutions for finding fractional assistance. You don't have to hire a full-time marketing team. You can leverage tools. But my cautionary tale is make sure you keep hold of your reins. Make sure that you are the authority. If you're the owner of the company, or I've seen customers that literally had their websites held hostage by former employees who had set up the website for them. And that website was associated with their personal email address. Even though they'd paid for it with the company card, the ownership did not have ownership of their own website. That's a cautionary tale for people to pay attention to. Who actually owns your domain? Who actually owns your emails? Because it can get real messy real quick if there's a falling out, and all of a sudden your brand is at risk.
Yeah, those digital assets are important, that you are keeping those to yourself.
If you got somebody who's a moderator on your Facebook account, that's one thing, but don't give them the keys to your kingdom. It's your kingdom.
So what do you guys think? Door hangers, direct mail, still worthwhile?
Yeah.
100%. Again, people do business with people. I think, and depending on your direct mail pieces, the more personal your direct mail piece can be, it can't just be a coupon in a Valpak, right? And no disrespect to Valpaks, but how many people open those on a monthly basis and they're like, they hold on to one coupon from their favorite restaurant and everything else goes in the trash. A door hanger with a personal signature on it, a print to mail kind of piece that's got the family photograph on it. This is our story. We're a multi-generational business, or hey, this is your local community team. Make those mailers tell your story.
I think I have a bit more of like a pragmatic take on this. Like, at the end of the day, you know what locations you can service. You're targeting locations, and both of those, marketing vehicles that you mentioned there are location based. So it becomes really, really surgical. At the end of the day, you don't have to know anything about the occupants to be able to target them. Otherwise, kind of when you're painting with broad strokes, if you're like billboards you had talked about, for example, or digital ads on Facebook or whatever, I think you can be a lot more surgical. Your cost per impression is going to be a lot lower because every single location that you've targeted is eligible for your service. That is such an incredible advantage over other advertising strategies that I think that can't be ignored.
And I think it also depends on where you're operating. Door hangers, when you're in truly rural areas, may not be a reality, right? You may need sticky notes to put on their gates, whatever. But I also have heard our customers say, our customers don't want a door hanger when they're already our customer. So make sure your technicians aren't just randomly going left side, right side, across the street, and they're unaware of who's already one of your customers.
Promotional pricing that you're offering,
exactly,
not for them. Yeah, great look.
Great look.
And I think the same thing with the direct mail. I mean, you said surgical, and I think that's what you need to be. It's not blanket a zip code or the Valpak, that gets distributed everywhere.
Yep.
Pick those addresses that you can service. Remove all your existing customers because you don't want. I mean, that takes away from the personal experience. Hey, they just sent me something to sign up for their service. Do they not know I have their service?
Did you guys do door hangers?
We did.
How'd you do it?
I mean, once you obviously, like Georgette said, if you're out in the real rural areas and it's half a mile to the next house, you're not putting door hangers plus or minus 3 of the installs. But when we were close, we would do that.
We did. I don't know if we did this way the whole time, but I think where we landed was we really put it in the hands of the technicians because they're the ones that were already in the field. And we took it a step further than just saying, here's a stack of door hangers, be a good employee and help us out. We incentivized. So we would put a unique code on there. And when the install would be completed, we would do a spiff or a kickback to that technician. It's just a little bit of incentive for them to take the time and walk themselves down and see there's no radio on that house. There's no radio on that house. Think of the little bit of time that it takes, but think of the cost if you had to go get a student to walk or to drive around or whatever.
Who's probably not going to look for the radio.
Yeah, exactly.
And you're there. I mean, right. So we had the same thing. They would initial the door hanger. So we know who put that door hanger up. So I think you should do the same thing with direct mail. I mean, if you're going to offer some kind of incentive, maybe not a custom URL, but if you're doing QR codes these days, you could make every QR code pretty unique on those mailers that you're sending out. It's easy enough to know, and that makes it super easy.
Which campaign, which imagery did you use that was more effective or led to more installations?
Right.
And then were you able to handle the installations that came from that campaign? And the last thing you want to do is oversell and not be able to deliver in a timely fashion.
So there is still value in those door hangers in that marketing, and it's still really important, this whole sales and marketing and branding and understanding what that is. So
even from a paper hater like me,
right?
I think
yeah,
absolutely.
So,
yeah.
Thank you guys.
Running an ISP, you're not just managing a network, you're supporting a community. Sonar gives you the operational power to do both brilliantly. Explore how at sonar.software.
All right, now it's time for our favorite segment, Love It or Hate It. Here's our first question. If you're not proud of your website, you're not serious about growth, love it or hate it?
Love it.
I love it.
I hate it.
You hate it.
Okay.
All right, let's
I'm
hear.
just 2 against 1. Y'all start.
Why? Because we already have won. Now you got to bring us over.
I'm telling you, I have seen some ugly ass websites that owners are proud of that are not good brands. They're just because you're proud of something doesn't mean that it's good.
Touche.
Okay?
We're back to words.
We're back to words matter.
Right.
And you may think you're serious about growth, but we can't find where you're operating. We can't find your terms and conditions. We can't find how to contact you. You don't have a meaningful way to communicate with your customers, and you're not telling a story. So you might be proud of it. It's not doing the do. So I hate this one.
That's fair, and frankly, I agree with everything you said. But
She just twisted the question, is all she did to get her
Twisted the
answer.
question.
To me, I mean, I think the sentiment of this question is like, yeah, if you don't invest in your website, if your website isn't effective, if your website's an afterthought, you're not serious about growth, and that's I guess the statement that I'm agreeing with. And I know that's not the words that I've said, but that's where I'm coming.
You,
from.
Mr. Words Matter,
I don't
just
know.
twist it.
They matter sometimes, and not other times. And this is a time where they don't matter at all. But I mean, I think we agree. Websites now more than ever, like there's so many dimensions to this for me. I think that there's a generational aspect to this. I think that today's buyers and decision makers.
I'm so sorry.
Bless her.
Whoa. That one so snuck up on me.
Leave that in.
I'm so sorry.
Leave that in.
I think there's a generational aspect to this. Like, I think today's buyers more and more are making their purchase decisions what I would call passively. So window shopping. But, you know, to complete the analogy, the window is a browser window, right? And I don't think that a lot of people are prone to, like, if they can't easily find, to your point, the information they're looking for on the website, they're just going to roll on to your competitor, and you'll never even know, other than the fact that you had a click on your website. So I think there's that aspect to it. I think there's a million and one reasons why I think you have to make sure that you have a website that you're proud of. And I think of it as me. And of course, if I'm proud of my website, it works very well, and it's not ugly.
It could be an ugly ass
Nope,
website.
not possible. Maybe for someone else.
Yeah, right. So the website's that store. I mean, it's how customers are shopping these days. So you have to have, you have to put that money in. And then once they're your customers, then it flips. Now this is an operational tool that you should be maximizing the benefit of. This is the customer portal where I can, manage my account. Because, like, my kids hate talking on the phone. I mean, they hold one in their hand 13 hours a day. Do they know it can make calls, or do they use it to make calls? No, but they'll browse to your site and they'll, manage their account that way. And they better be able to do that is what's happening.
I have a wild question for you, though. Do you envision a world where websites go the way of the yellow pages? They're no longer necessary because AI is where you go, or an app on your phone is where you go to interact. It's not actually the landing page, no longer window shopping. It's every company has to have their own app that the customer can interact with.
If that is the case, I think it will be a short-lived chapter of history, because I personally believe the text input interface of LLMs is a huge limiting factor. If something very archaic about it, it's the way that they work right now. But I think that, it's more so websites and information will be dynamic. I think there will be more of a graphical UI element that comes through those tools. I don't think it's just going to be like text coming back to you like a ghost writing you a letter. No.
All right, let's move on to our next one. Testimonials matter more than your pricing page. Love it or hate it?
I love it.
I love it.
Oh, you guys are wrong.
Oh, Larry, I love when we love things together.
I know.
It's so good. You're wrong. Testimonials matter. They absolutely matter, because
Say they don't.
they matter more than your pricing page. Because
Okay. Listening.
Oh no, Larry, you're going to defend this one now. He's being cheeky with me.
Why am I defending it now? You just wanted to give up?
You're on the
All it
spot.
has to do is look at you the wrong way and we give up. So, pricing's obviously a factor, but when you know that guy next door and you see his name pop up, and your testimonials need to be very specific. I want Bill X in subdivision Y. I don't want, Fred in Washington County, which I don't know which Washington County
Or
it is.
customer.
Right.
I've
so,
seen
So I
those.
want, right, or customer. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. This is a real testimonial. Nobody wrote this one.
Yep.
So I mean, those have impact because we've all continued saying this is, we're building relationship. Testimonials are relationship. That's why I think
And they could be a
testimonials are
Google
important.
review. It could be an unsolicited testimonial on your Facebook page. It could be a tweet on X that is recognizing the excellence in the customer service relationship or the technician's installation. And those testimonials are going to drive new business to your company. So matter more.
I don't disagree with any of that. I think they matter. I don't think they matter more. And again, it is getting, very in the weeds here. But frankly, you could have the best testimonials on the planet, and then you go to sign up for the business and you can't afford the service, then those testimonials didn't matter. At the end of the day, if the customer can't afford your service or there isn't a value in the service that you're delivering, what do those testimonials matter?
So you're going to twist the second one, but not the first one. I see how you are.
I'm reading that verbatim.
Fair
But I
enough.
think the customers aren't even going to your pricing page. They've seen the testimonial. They think, it's great. I can't tell you how many times we had to answer pricing questions when people called in, looking for service because they didn't go to the pricing page. I mean, we had one. We had a really well-defined
They're all
one.
shopping on the website.
Yeah, well, okay.
I think it matters.
All right. Last question. You need to have a presence on all social media platforms. Love it or hate it.
I kind of showed my hand on this one. Yeah.
I absolutely hate this.
Hate it.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. So when we don't have anything to discuss, well, show's over. Okay, why do we hate it?
We hate it because if you're not going to do a good job on a particular platform, you shouldn't be swimming in that pool to begin with. It's just going to end poorly for everybody.
Or how about dead accounts on platforms? I mean, those are horrible. I mean, why? You'd be better not to have created
100%
anything on that platform than to just have 2 posts and they're 9 months old.
Or 3 years old.
Or, right, or 3 years old.
Are they even still in business?
Right.
Or you are still scheduling posts because you're mirroring them off of the platform that you are active on. And then you're getting engagement on those posts and people are commenting and asking questions and nobody's answering. How many times have you seen that? Again, it's worse than not having it at all.
And then pick the right social media platforms. Not
works for you.
everything is important for your business.
And is it sustainable? Are you using a summer intern to do some marketing and they're going to open a TikTok page, but they're going back to university come August and now all of a sudden there's nobody there to manage that? That's not okay. It's not going to work. It's not going to help your brand.
Great.
Well, it's nice to end on
us all agreeing that we're haters.
That we're all
so we can
all
agree on something.
unified. How about that?
There we go.
Excellent.
Unified haters. If you like this conversation, follow Bandwidth on LinkedIn. We post clips, debates, and behind-the-scenes takes you won't catch anywhere else. All right, it's time for What If. So what if your marketing campaign explodes beyond expectations and your ops team can't support the install volume? Georgette?
Communicate. If your ops team can't go out and do those installations and your customers get crickets from you guys, from your company, you're going to have a bad taste in their mouth by the time that technician shows up to do their installation. You just got to communicate what's going on.
I think you should start by celebrating. I mean, yes, you've got a problem to solve, but you also had a roaring success in something that is very hit and miss. And that is, in marketing strategies. And are you going to get your take rates? Are you not? So don't just immediately read it as a bad thing.
I like that, Rick.
Right? I'm
That's-
such a half.
Let's get some
glass
champagne.
half full
Yeah.
type of guy that's to be expected from me, right? But
Hate it.
Wrong segment.
Wait, we're not there. Yeah, right. But I think it. No, go ahead.
no.
I think it is it's a success, but it's only kind of a success. I think
You still have a problem to solve.
You've got a problem, right? So
to me, like the question was, that your ops team can't support it. You can't get these installs done fast enough. Essentially, you have an install backlog starting to accrue. I mean, I still think that could be a solvable problem, and sometimes you have to think outside the box. So is it because your standard crew can't handle it? Do you have any overflow resources? Can you outsource a chunk of these? I mean, that may seem obvious, but beyond that, one thing that we had success in, where we had basically the same challenge, I'm not going to call it a problem, this is a great problem to have, is we would go to our existing install team and say, hey, here's the deal. Who wants to pick up some extra installs? If you happen to be in the summer, you can extend your hours. If not, or in addition to the evening installs, you could offer Saturday installs, and you would do, one-time cash spiff, incentives for your technicians to pick them up. I think there are always things that you can do to throw some gas in the fire and try and shorten that, that waiting list.
I've seen operators offer Sunday afternoon installations.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, you can get those weekend installs. That can help you with some of it. But to what Georgette said, the most important thing is communication. I don't want to sign up from this great marketing campaign only to have to wait a month and a half to get my installation. Or if it's going to be a month and a half, you better tell me, and you better see if I'm willing to wait. This better be a really great marketing campaign for me to wait that long.
What if your competitor is booking next day installs? What do you do in that? So you said communicate. If you know that your competitor has capacity and they're offering next day installs, what exactly are you communicating? What are your strategies to get that customer willing to wait the 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, whatever?
If you're charging for the install, it's half off the install because we can't get to you in a certain time, or maybe it's a free install if it's really, that far out. Do whatever you can not to lose them, because you're going to have that MRR come in, afterwards. Don't let them go to your competitor.
You got to get
doing the next.
You got to figure out how to. You've got them on the hook. You got to reel them in.
Yep. Don't lose the fish.
Don't lose the fish.
Yep.
On the next episode of Bandwidth, we're talking about one thing that can take down your whole network in seconds: security. From phishing to firmware, we're going deep on the vulnerabilities that no one wants to admit and how to protect what really matters. You don't want to miss this.
Remember, when you connect communities, you unlock what's possible. Until next time.